Hello everyone, welcome to the draws for the group stage. I'll take you guys through, I'll run you guys through a quick cap of the way the draws are made for you guys to understand where who goes where. So basically it's quite a simple draw, which is quite fair, and for you guys to understand how this was arrived at, and for you to know how it's done from scratch. First, to your left, you will see a column called labeled seeding. Then to your right, you see the groups. Now, for this stage, we have 32 players, 16 from each league. So, and we have 8 groups. That's group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, we are going to have to place the 32 players into different groups. So what happens is this. What we do is just to put all the players into the seeding bracket. We do not directly determine who goes to which group. However, we indirectly determine who goes to which group. How do we determine who goes to which group is that we place the players into the seeds. Now, once we have seeded everyone into the seed, the system automatically brackets the players into these groups according to the slot numbers. If you notice, for group 1, we are going to have slot 1, 9, 17, 25. For group 2, we are going to have slot 2, 10, 18, 26. For group 3, slot 3, 11, 19, 27. For group 4, slot 4, 12, 20, 28. Group 5, slot 5, 13, 21, 29. For group 6, we have slots 6, 14, 22, 30. And then for group 7, slot 7, 15, 23, 31. For group 8, we have slot 8, 16, 24, 32. There's a pattern. If you notice, there's a pattern of odd and even. Group 1 is odd, 2 is even, 3 odd, 4 even, alternating like that. So what happens is this. In trying to do the grouping, we try to ensure that the top placed players in the leagues do not meet each other. That is, the top dogs do not meet each other early. How do we do this? We do it by placing the top players against the less skilled players in the leagues. So, like for instance, for group 1, slot 1 will be a top placed player. The next slot, which is slot 9, has to be a less skilled player, as determined by how they finished in their leagues. That is how this is done. So now, what do? We have to fix a player into slot 1. That's on the seeding brackets. We put a player into number 1. The number 1 player, definitely, once we put that player, that player automatically flies into group 1 because slot 1 goes to group 1. Number 2 in the seeding bracket automatically flies into group 2. Now, number 3 in the seeding bracket automatically flies into group 3, like that. So now we have to determine who goes to slot 1. That is where we come in. Now we determine who goes to slot 1. Slot 1 is group 1, and we have to put a top placed player there. That is the highest placed player in one of the leagues. Now we start with Gladiators. Starting with Gladiators, the highest placed player in Gladiators is Leather Niger. So we put Leather Niger in number 1. We go to group 2. We are going to put another top player in group 2. So group 2 has to be the highest place, because we've dealt with Gladiators, we go to Spartans. The highest placed player in the Spartans league is Gbadebo 94. We put Gbadebo 94 in number 2. Number 3, we've taken number 1 in Gladiators, we've taken number 1 in Spartans. So we move to number 2. So now we're going to group 3. Group 3 has to be number 3. So the highest placed player in Gladiators next to Leather Niger is Imaji J-Boy. We put Imaji J-Boy in number 3. For group 4 is number 4 has to be the first player in group 4 has to be slot 4. Slot 4 will move again to Spartans. The next player in Spartan is World Sly. We put World Sly in number 4. He occupies the first position in group 4. The first position in group 5 is slot 5. We've done number 1 and 2 in Gladiators. We've done number 1 and 2 in Spartans. We go to number 3. So number 3 now is Mid-Star 13. That's in Gladiators. We put Mid-Star 13 in group 5. We move to Spartans. Emi Torch is the number 3. We put Emi Torch in group 6. For numbers, group 7 has to be slot 7 because we have dealt with number 1 to 3 in Gladiators, we've dealt with number 1 to 3 in Spartans, and we still need a top player. The next top player has to be number 4, which is Boye in Gladiators. We put Boye in slot 7. Now, for slot 8, we've done number 1 to 3 in Spartans. The next player has to be Juggernaut. We put Juggernaut. Excuse me. we put Juggernaut in number 8. Immediately we put Juggernaut in number 8. Juggernaut immediately goes to group 8 to go and be the first player there. That is how it's done. Now, as we occupy number 1 to 8, position 1 to 8, now we want to start occupying the second position in each of the groups. To occupy the second position in each of the groups, we have to start from the bottom because we want the top player to meet the least player. So we start from the bottom. Now, because Leather Niger is Gladiator, we are not going to put another Gladiator. We are going to mix it. We have to mix it, alternate it, so that everyone eventually gets to play everyone. That is how this league is structured. Now, what do? We move to, because Leather Niger is Gladiators, we move to Spartans. The least player in Spartans is, that's the 16th place player in Spartans is Frankie 241088. But because Frankie 241088, because Fashiyi the gamer has pulled out of the tournament, now we are going to move to the next spot, which is the 17th position. The player that occupies that 17th position is Benzo 007. Now, Benzo 007 automatically comes to slot 9. I hope you guys are getting it. Benzo 007 automatically comes to slot 9 because we want the first to meet the list. So Benzo is the least in his league. We put him in slot 9. Because Benzo, now we go to group 2. Who is the second position in group 2? That is slot number 10. Now we go to Gladiators. Who is the least player? Who is the 16th player in Gladiators? Waza 1909. We put Waza 1909 in slot number 10. We go to group 3. We want a player to occupy the second position in group 3. Now, when we go to group 3, we notice that the second position has to be who? Has to be slot 11. We're going to put somebody in slot 11. Now, slot 11 goes to group 3. Who is the next person? That is going to be the next player to Benzo. That is Frankie. We put Frankie in slot 11. We go to group 4, slot 12. The next player, again from the bottom in the Gladiators League, is Baba Joe. We put Baba Joe. Now, we go to group 5. Group 5 has to be the next player again in the Spartans League. We put Phil in number 13. Now, we go to group 6. The next player there has to be who? We go to Gladiators League again. We put IFOPS. From the bottom, IFOPS come next. Now, in the Spartans League, from the bottom, Olumide Fash comes next. We put him. From the bottom again, in the Gladiators League, Savage comes next. We put Savage. This is how we do it. Now that we have dealt with players from the bottom, now we go back up again. We go back to group 1. Now, we are now in slot number 17. Why do we take care of slot number 17? We are going to take care of slot number 17 by coming from up again. We need another top player. Now, because we have dealt with position 1 to 4, we have dealt with position 1 to 4, and because Benzo is Spartans, now we are going to move to the next top player in the Gladiators League. That is Eddie Breezy 15. We put Eddie Breezy 15 in position 17. We do that again for group 2. Now we want the third player in group 2. Now because Waza is a Gladiator, we need a Spartan to occupy that position. We come to Spartan. Who is the 5th player in Spartan? Who finished 5th? That's Signer. We put Signer there. Now the next thing happens. We go to group 3. Now who finished 6th in Gladiators? Because Frankie is a Spartan, we're going to put the next player who finished 6th in Gladiators. That is Chimezuru. Chimezuru will be immediately we put in position 19 in group 3. We go to group 4. When we go to the 7th player in Spartan, we put him there. That's Kevin Prince. This is how exactly we structure everything and place all the players into all the groups until we are able to occupy the 4 positions in all the groups. So this is why I brought you guys the draws, the staging. You can see all the players that were placed. This is how we structured it, and this is how the draw was done. So there is no favoritism. There is no it's total fair play and total transparency. So where you find yourself is as a matter of the automatic stratification, how we eventually decide to place, do the placements for everyone. So I want everyone to play fair and believe that this is a very fair process. So what we do next is we lock it. We lock all the spots. So as soon as we lock it, it becomes verified. So we go ahead to lock all the spots. Once they are locked, it's finalized. As soon as it is locked, then it is saved. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching and good luck in the games.